And welcome back to the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. Dan Labbe with Mary Kay Cabot, the Hey Mary Kay edition of the podcast. So I mentioned on Monday's pod, we had some Deshaun Watson questions I was going to save. So let's get to it. And we'll start with Jay from Canton. Hey, Mary Kay, if the Browns are going to get back into the playoffs and Super Bowl contention, rank the following in terms of need. So first, Watson returns to form. Second, young existing players fulfill potential. And third, big splash in the draft and incoming free agents. So again, that's Watson returns to form, young players for full potential, and a big splash in the draft and free agency.
I'm going number one, Watson returns to form. I think that's vitally important. I think he's the most important key piece of this team in 2023. As Deshaun Watson goes, so go the Cleveland Browns. So he's got to be good in 2023 for this team to get to where it wants to go. Number two, then I would put adding some free agents, because I think in order for Deshaun Watson to be as good as he can be, he's going to need a couple other weapons. So I'm going out, I'm getting him a few more weapons, and I think the defense needs a few more weapons. I don't think you can count on your number 98 overall pick coming in here and knocking the world over. That would be your third rounder, the compensatory pick. I think that you've got to go out and you've got to find, and I know they have a second rounder as well. I'm just saying that I don't think that you can count on, that guy being, your world beater. So I think you need to go out in free agency and in the trade market and make a couple of big splashy moves. Doesn't have to be 5 or 6, but you need to make 2 or 3 sort of big splashes to get this team to where you want it to go. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the young players are going to need to step it up, because if you have guys like, maybe Perion Winfrey, David Bell, Alex Wright, even Martin Emerson to a certain extent can take his game up another notch. Even I would even throw Jordan Elliott, Grant Delpit in there. If all these guys can just pick up their game a little bit, then it's like you've got new players on the roster. And then after that, then I go draft, and I'm putting draft last because they only have one pick in their first 97 selections, and that is number 42 in the second round. So, and unless they're trading up anytime soon, and that's not going to be easy to do, then you just really can't count on the draft as being where you're going to get your impact players for 2023.
Yeah. So, I call this a Deshaun Watson question because, like, spoiler alert, and listen, we have to do 5 pods a week, and we're going to talk about the offseason needs and what this team needs to do to win a Super Bowl all offseason. And we're going to make it really interesting. But if we're being completely honest, what this really comes down to is Deshaun Watson. It's kind of all about Deshaun Watson. And that's sort of what you were getting at with your first. You said Deshaun number 1, and then it was building around Deshaun number 2 with free agents. So, it's a little bit of an oversimplification, but it does come down to, does Deshaun Watson look like the player that they gave up 3 first-round picks and $230 million for?
Absolutely. And all you need to do is look at the playoffs and look at the Super Bowl to see what it takes to get there. My goodness, how good is Patrick Mahomes, right? Look at the way that Joe Burrow played. Look at the way, to a certain extent, Josh Allen played in the lead up. Look at the way Jalen Hurts played in the Super Bowl. He was tremendous. That's what you need. You need really good elite quarterback play. That's today's football game. That's what you have to have. That's why the Browns are where they're at with Deshaun Watson. They knew if they wanted to fast track the system and get to where they wanted to go, they had to make a move like this. Or they could have just gone out and got Geno Smith. But who knew that at the time? So, or Brock Purdy. They could have traded for Brock.
Right. All they had to do was take Brock Purdy in the 6th round instead of letting San Francisco have him in the 7th.
Exactly. But so this is what it's all about. It was all about finding their guy, that elusive elite quarterback that they have waited for and looked for and hoped for since this team came back in 1999. They thought Baker Mayfield was that guy. They really thought Baker Mayfield was that guy. He turned out to be not that guy for them. So they had to do something. And for them, it was go big or go home. And that's where they are right now. And now they have to put all their eggs in that basket and do everything they can to maximize Deshaun and get him back to 2020 Deshaun Watson.
Right. It's really about how you win, right? I mean, we've seen, obviously it's a different situation because of Deshaun's off-field stuff, but the Cavs decided their roster was ready to win and they went all in and they went and got Donovan Mitchell, because in the NBA, you've got to have a star. You've got to have a guy that can kind of be that star that pushes you over the top. And in the NFL, you got to have a quarterback. You got to have a guy that can be that guy to push you over the top. And that's what they think Deshaun Watson could be on the